Hey yo, this is some of the realest shit I've ever heard, and probably you too, from a diverse group of women, starring Mary Trump, Jen Taub, and Danielle Moodie. I'm talking about these ladies put it down for real. Check it out. Provocative AF on YouTube. Subscribe.
There's so much, right? Like
Yeah.
the reality is, and we talk about this on your show, I talk about it on my shows, is that whiteness protects whiteness.
Yeah.
And you can twist yourself into all different, types of pretzels in order to come up with whatever other excuse there is that a man like Donald Trump, who's been caught on, tape, and he's not even being caught, right? Do you know what I'm saying? We're just airing it. But it's not as if that is going to be used in any real way, because if you were to have a quarter of the evidence that has been presented by reporting, just basic reporting, right? Mm-hmm. On anyone else that is watching this, any of us right here talking right now, everyone else would have been in jail 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right?
Immediately.
And so immediately, and it would have been like, we will lock them up now because we see that they are a threat to national security, and we will ask questions later. There is not a person, right, I believe, that has been accused of the Espionage Act that hasn't been thrown in jail, that hasn't been carted off in shackles. And yet here Donald Trump sits running for president of the United States again. And so, when it comes to Merrick Garland, when it comes to our system of injustice, it was never built for the benefit of Black and brown people and indigenous people. It was built to secure property, which we once were, for white men. Yep. That is it. And so when you look at the system, you say, well, why doesn't it just work? Because whiteness and maleness will always protect whiteness and maleness. You have the false sense of justice when you believe that these two separate groups are wearing two different political party hats. But when it comes to criminal enforcement in this country, they're actually wearing the same fucking white hat. And it's not the white hat of goodness, right? It is the consideration and understanding that the Klan had, right? Which is that Blackness by virtue of birth is criminal, right? And is seen as violent and something that needs to be oppressed and put down. It doesn't matter. There is no benefit of the doubt, because by birth you were seen as a problem. That goes for everybody that is not white. And so, when we look at these situations and we see that this injustice situation will throw a child, right, in jail, a Black child in jail for life sentences, a Black child in jail for a dime bag, a Black child in jail like Khalif Browder, who was thrown in jail in Rikers for 3 years for suspicion of stealing a backpack. No evidence was found. There was no court case. There was nothing. 3 years.
And he not just anywhere.
He sat in Rikers. He sat in Rikers as a 16-year-old. There are too many fucking stories of that, and then committed suicide 2 years after his release. There are too many stories like this for that to be accidental. It is purposeful, because at the end of the day, what is wanted is white ascension, right? And Black and brown and indigenous dissension. That is how our society has been built. That's how this country has been built. So when we see such egregious acts, and then they want to gaslight the fuck out of us and tell us that justice will come, just wait, it's slow, right? It is a relationship that that Black and brown and indigenous people in this country have with an abusive partner that we refer to as the United States of America, that beats the hell out of us, that is toxic. And, and yet we can't escape, because I don't know where the fuck we're going.
I just shot a guy with a gun.
The thing that got me, and I put this in a private chat and I tweeted it yesterday, it was the laughter of what sounds like, a young woman just, giggling along with Donald Trump, and Trump just seemingly doing what he does, which is wanting to impress, wanting to be cool, wanting to seem tough and powerful, right? All of this is just one big egotistical nightmare, right? Like, you know, part of me believe two things can be true at the same time. One, I can believe that Donald Trump stole those documents because Donald Trump wanted to sell information, right? I can absolutely believe that. That's number one. Number two, I also believe that Donald Trump took those documents so that he could have talking points and bragging points for the groupies that would come into Mar-a-Lago, and he could showcase, look what I have, look what I have, look what I have, right? And seem, you know, bigger than he is, because he's so just such a fragile, small, insecure, like, you know, all of this could have been avoided if most white men went to therapy, right? Instead of taking out all of their fucking insecurities and issues out on everybody around them. And I mean that seriously. Like, I'm not even, you know, joking.
A lot of white women too.
Yeah. I just, you know, all of this is just so performative. That's what I got from it. It is just so performative in its nature and deplorable and disgusting. And beneath the office. But it's like we say all of these things over and over again. And to the point that was made earlier, right, about Merrick Garland and wanting to preserve patriarchy and to preserve the institution. Folks, we have to understand that's the goal across the fucking board. Like, we're here in this space right now because a black man became president of the United States and white America lost its fucking mind. And so in order to restore their balance of what they believe power is, they had to present their fucking worst, right? The person that was going to elevate and give air to and a microphone to their grievance about no longer being worshipped, about no longer being able to subjugate, about no longer being able to be their worst selves, right? And be accepted as such because they are white. This is why we are here. This is the entirety of what white lash looks like every time there is progress that is made in this country. And so by presenting Donald Trump, this egotistical toddler of a man who embodies all that white men have ever wanted, right? Which is power, the ability to grab people by the pussy, do whatever it is that you want and get away with it and have the money and the cachet that doors open for you. He is their model. And has been, right? And so when you look at, you know, who Barack Obama was, and you look at who Black people are that have risen to this level, the amount of perfection, this, like the stellar nature, the fucking resume, right? And then you look at Donald Trump, and that is just a fuck you to everybody that has ever been told that, like, education is the key, that like all you have to do is work hard, blah, blah. You don't. You got to be born white and wealthy and like male. That's all you got to do.
Yep. That is the formula.
When you say make America great again, which period are we talking about? The period